Hi, everyone. My name is Rita Crumpton. I'm also known as the Inventor Lady, and I was so excited to talk to you about this topic today that I jumped the gun and did it once at 11 o'clock. So if you've already heard this, thanks. And if you still have questions and you want to hear it again, yay. So the topic we're talking about today is I'm responding to an email or a LinkedIn comment that came in regarding one of the broadcasts, and it was asking a bunch of questions about this process of Archimedes' Offspring. So one of the comments of one of three, first one was that having an independent search done was burdensome. Well, if you're trying to do it yourself as an independent inventor, it's incredibly burdensome to do your own search. The USPTO is organized like a library. It's according to classifications, not keywords. Most inventors, our gut instinct is to do a keyword search. Can't do that. You can't depend on that. Most inventors don't have the time to learn how to weed through. I've heard the people at the USPTO refer to that website as an octopus. So at a certain point, you're ready to say, okay, I'm done. So I always encourage people, do as much of your own searching as you can. By all means, Google USPTO, the Google Patents is another resource that you can use to see what you can find. It's not a very strong search engine, but it certainly does have its place because it's some place to get started. So that part of it is, do your own looking around as much as you can. Take the blinders off. Think about it how someone else would see it. What would they call it? What are the other words that would be used? Could your application be used in a different industry? What would those words look like? So by all means, do as much as you can yourself. And then it is time to get a third party involved, another set of eyes, an independent set of eyes. And there are resources groups that you can use. It's all about the service provider. You can get a comprehensive search that includes the USPTO, the international piece, and a product search for $500. You can use a registered patent attorney. They're going to charge more. You always want to ask the hourly rate, but you want an independent set of eyes doing the search. It's critical. All right. The next phase, then the next comment was, why do you need an attorney, a registered patent attorney to do the work? For goodness sakes, this is not rocket science. All right. These people pay a lot of money to go to school for a long time and learn that there is a finesse to writing the patents, and you need access to that finesse. It means you have to pay for it. So you need the search done, and then you need a competent registered patent attorney to give you an opinion as to whether or not it could be successful. And again, it's all about the service provider. We can give you suggestions on different places to go for service providers, for registered patent attorneys that are going to keep the cost in line. So at most, you're out $500 for the search and $1,000 for someone to say, yes, you should move forward with this, or no, move on to your next idea. Now, it could be as high as $5. Again, it really depends on the service provider you decide to use for those two steps. Those two steps are critical. All right. The investors in Archimedes' Offspring and the vetting community cannot read your mind. Ideas are like belly buttons. Everybody's got one. Some of this due diligence is your responsibility as the independent inventor. If you go through the vetting process and you are chosen, you will be reimbursed for these costs. Yeah, again, you will be reimbursed for these costs. So where the person was saying, well, you're adding more costs to the process. No, we're not. These are two things that would need to be done, whether you used Archimedes' Offspring or you do it yourself. All right, whether you aren't going to look for that vetting. Two critical steps in the early stages: getting an independent search done and a good review by a registered patent attorney. If you're chosen, you'll get reimbursed for those. I'm not sure why he was saying we're increasing the cost to the inventor. No, we're not. Right? And again, two critical steps. Well, the next point that was being made is that investors want to control everything. Not with Archimedes' Offspring. This is where we are reinventing the inventing process. The investors would get an average of 20% ownership in the patent. All right, you still have full control. You still own or control 80% or thereabouts. On some industries and some products, it may be as high as 25%. But on average, figure 20% ownership of the patent is what goes to the fund. And again, I'm not sure where the problem was, where the question was. For most inventors, money is the big issue. Being alone on your own is another issue. So many inventors make a critical mistake, and Archimedes Offspring helps offset that by the mentoring process, right? And by the funding process. You've got more people giving you input, not controlling it, but saying these are the next steps to do. As the inventor, you are always in control of decisions that are made and the next steps that you take. Which registered patent attorney you use, which engineer you use. You control the process, all right? We are there to give you support, all right, to give you options, to say, check this part out, consider doing it this way. And where we go through the vetting process and we are looking at industry experts for feedback, we already have a pretty good idea of whether or not the product will be licensed. And this is what's critical to you before you've even gone down that path. Now, the $75,000, it is not a check that's handed over to you. No boondoggles allowed. You don't get to use your brother-in-law as your engineer. All right, no offense to brother-in-laws. I've got a couple of good ones of my own. So what we do is put the funds into an escrow account. Service providers are paid directly, and we help you pick a legitimate service provider in whatever field it is, at whatever stage you are in. So we help mentor you through the process. The investors pay for the process, and you maintain control of the patent and the project. So again, join us. Archimedes Offspring, we are reinventing the way inventing is done in America. Join us. We can help you. Thanks.